For a long time, I've been saying at some point, Manchester United are going to put a team to the sword. That has now finally happened. It felt good. It felt foreign having seen us struggle for such a long time. Of course, it was only Barnsley. However, there are some big things to take development-wise from that win, and I want to talk about them with you. Watching United put 7 past any team is going to put a smile on your face. It doesn't matter that it's Barnsley, all right? There were some key points that I want to pull out of that game, out of that win. It's all about momentum. If we didn't have momentum early this season, the 3-0 against Southampton and now the 7-0 against Barnsley, we build on top of those. Crystal Palace away coming next. Won't be easy. But I want to speak about a few key points from that game, all right? First things first, right? That's why I said it felt foreign. It's the first time since February 2021, 3.5 years it has been, since United were 3 goals up at half-time. We have been slow out of the blocks for years. And that was our biggest win since that same game, the 9-0. And that is the only time where an Erik ten Hag team has scored 5 or more goals. That, ladies and gents, is a development. Now, of course, there's going to be people coming straight back at me saying, hold on, Sam, it was only Barnsley. And my rebuttal to that would be, sure, but it was only Newport County that we massively struggled with, and with a stronger team. It was only Coventry. The same Coventry that ended up taking us to penalties. We have had games like this before where Erik ten Hag and his side have struggled. And in my opinion, the single biggest development that we saw there, and I spoke about this in my pre-season sort of preview, if we're going to see a Ten Hag 2.0 this season, Manchester United 2.0, this has to happen. It happened there against Barnsley. And that is rotation, all right? Bayindir playing, Maguire, Evans, Collier, Ugarte, Casemiro, Erik ten Hag rotated 5. Well, basically his whole defence, really, apart from Delo. Plus Bruno Fernandes, Xerxes went onto the bench. But this is not something that Erik ten Hag has done before. Again, I go back to the Newport County game. Look at the starting 11 we had in this game. In a game where we threw away a 2-goal lead and ended up winning 4-2, but we struggled. That was pretty much the strongest 11 that Erik ten Hag could have put out. And people were worried that he was going to do the same thing again this year. But that right there, ladies and gents, is evidence of development. And I think evidence of maybe Ruud van Nistelrooy working with Erik ten Hag. Look, Erik ten Hag, he did the same thing at Ajax. He did the same thing in his first 2 seasons. He played his strongest 11 every single game. You can't do that anymore. Not with the amount of games that are being played. Whether that's a Ruud influence and a Rene Hacker influence, or whether it's just an acceptance that with the extra Europa League games, it just can't happen. Erik ten Hag said he was going to rotate before the game, and he did rotate for the game. But despite all of that, despite the fact that we made 5, 6 outfield changes, United won 7-0. I also like this comment from Erik ten Hag after the game saying, look, I wasn't devastated after Liverpool, and now I'm not celebrating. And it's, as I said in my live show this morning, as United fans, we can't do this as easily because we get emotionally attached. When we win big, we love it, and you ride the highs. And when you lose big and you're humiliated, the lows are pretty deep. But as a manager and players, they have to stay in that level playing field in the middle. So I did like that comment. But from an individual perspective, that's where there were plenty of exciting developments in that game. Whether it's Marcus Rashford finding the back of the net, 2 goals for Rashford, the celebration comes back out, and it was just the small things. The moment, and Erik ten Hag said it after the game, when I see Rashford playing with a smile on his face, I know that Rashford's going to be fine. And I genuinely think he's probably one of the most confidence-reliant players that I remember seeing in a Manchester United shirt. When he's flowing, he's unstoppable. But when he's not, it's almost like he stops himself. And whether that Barnsley those 2 goals against Barnsley lead to anything in the longer term. We've now had 1 against Southampton. That's 2 there against Barnsley. Let's see what happens against Crystal Palace. But on top of that, you've got Garnacho, who a player I think that Erik ten Hag has just... I think he's managed his development very well. Last season, my critique would be that he used him too much and we relied on him. 38 games in a row he started as a 19-year-old, but we had no alternative, and Erik ten Hag kind of felt backed into a corner with that sense. But he's only started a couple of games this year, and he looks really, really sharp. And I'm really liking what I'm seeing with Garnacho, with the development of him and the management of him. And then you've got Ugarte making his debut for United in midfield. Pretty much doing exactly kind of what we thought it was going to be. Very high volume levels of tackles. Now, a lot of them were just mistimed, but that will come with sharpness. And maybe it was just him breaking up the game. But to see him get 60 minutes was another real positive. Anthony, who is a player, I've pretty much written him off in the long term at Manchester United. I think we'll try and sell him in the summer, but it is a team game. That is why seeing United rotate, and not only just United rotate, but United winning 7-0 with that rotated team is a big development this season, because last season we didn't rotate. We played our strongest 11. Now, of course, you're going to play strongest 11 in an FA Cup semi-final. That's not really what I'm saying. But we struggled against Coventry. We struggled against Newport. We did not struggle against Barnsley. And Erik ten Hag got the team selection spot on. And the players themselves, they took to the occasion. United have made the easy games difficult. United have made easy moments difficult. Basically, large majority of times over the last few seasons, any opportunity where we might be able to sort of relax a little bit, or maybe just take our foot off the gas, we get punished for it because we get complacent and just the heads are gone. But that game against Barnsley, not only did we rotate, but we won 7-0. And not only that, players played with a smile on their face. And it just momentum and confidence are such intangibles in football, but they're so important. After that Liverpool game, none of us had massive confidence. Are we feeling more confident? Yeah, we're going to be more confident going into Crystal Palace away, but it won't be easy. We've got Crystal Palace away, Twente at home, Spurs at home, and Villa away. I think they're Porto away as well. I think that's the last 5 games before the next international break. We need to keep this going, all right? Winning against Barnsley isn't going to be the make of a season. Losing against Barnsley, it could be a bit of a breaking point, but not really. But it's the rotation from Erik. That's development, man. I want to see this team develop this season. I want to see that start of play. Still want to see it more playing out from the back. And there's other elements I want to see too. But rotation was a big one. And for me, we saw that against Barnsley. Finally, it happened. And also, finally, we put a team to the sword. I've been waiting for those two things for a while. Both came in the same game. Can we build on that against Palace? Well, we'll find out. But after Liverpool, it's nice to just score 10 goals in 2 games. Really.